And there's a number of levers companies can select to address the lack of visibility in 2021 when they design their annual incentive plan. Another approach that we may see is to elect to change the mix of the measures in the short-term incentive plan. For example, oftentimes the short-term incentive plan is heavily weighted appropriately towards financial performance, with a common approach, 60 to 80%, sometimes even 100% of the annual incentive tied to financial results. Some companies may elect to introduce operational or strategic goals or increase the weighting on those goals for 2021 in order to delever or take some of the risk that is involved with goal setting out of the mix. And one way to do that is to introduce some non-financial metrics or increase the weighting on those metrics to lessen the risk and the challenges associated with setting accurate financial targets for the upcoming year.
Just to build on that, that's kind of another strategy, which is to say maybe we diversify our metrics to something other than just financial. And one of the things you're trying to do there, and this is something we're always trying to do with incentives, is have a pretty good line of sight between what an executive has control over, has an influence over, and what they're paid on. So you want them to feel like they have some influence on the actions that are going to lead to their payouts. Financial objectives are great because they align very well to investor outcomes. They're not always great from a line of sight perspective. Sometimes what you can influence, there might be a pretty long line of sight between what you as an individual can influence and, let's say, your earnings per share. And so in times of uncertainty, this becomes even a bigger issue. And as Ron mentioned, that's where maybe you can incorporate more of a strategic metric or an operational measure, something that's a key operational issue in the company for the year, or maybe even an ESG metric, which is something many companies are trying to do anyways. Maybe this is a year to incorporate an ESG measure, which you may, as an individual executive, feel like you have greater control over how that's going to come out, that's going to play out, as opposed to a financial measure. So it provides a little bit of a buffer against all this financial uncertainty.